Hello, Frog fans. Welcome back to Postgame Beers Podcast. We are the Lupton Drinking Club. I'm your host tonight, Kyle Malloy, joined by my co-host, the Master of Activities, Jacob Sailors, JD. We've got our producer, Crazy Ray Cartwright, without a shirt. So, ladies, enjoy the show tonight.
Yeah, if you're not on the YouTube stream, make sure you get on to catch this.
Wait, this is live?
We've also got our guy, the uninformed frog, Garrett Evans. But we continue to bring you guys some fun and interesting things throughout the summer since there's not a lot going on in frog ball. Well, there is, but we just want to have some fun. So tonight we're thrilled to bring you another Horned Frog legend, alum of the program and friend, actually neighbor of mine, Jantzen Witte. Jantzen, thanks for coming on the show tonight.
Bro, neighbor, thanks for having me, man. This is cool.
Do you guys do like cookouts and stuff?
We
need to get together soon. Once these freaking mosquitoes get out of here, my God.
We do have some block parties. They used to be pretty legendary. I think then Jantzen decided to travel, do some travel ball stuff. We'll talk about that. And so he's been out of the picture. But we would have a big movie theater like on his garage door that he put up and grab some pizzas. It was awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well,
Jantzen,
back, baby. We'll get it rolling.
My first question, had we done this podcast yesterday, would have been, you're fresh off a stint with the Round Rock Express, and we were going to ask, hey, what's next? But I want to give you a minute with today's news to share what that is and let you kind of share that yourself.
Yeah, man. So, past couple of years has been kind of a little bit of a roller coaster ride with baseball. Just I'm getting older. I'm 34 now, so wasn't sure what opportunities were going to look like. Honestly, these past couple of years. Had a good year, or honestly, in 2020, I thought I had a chance of making the team with the Red Sox out of spring training. COVID hit, and I was not invited back, and found out we were pregnant, and I really hadn't made any money up to that point playing baseball. So I told my wife I quit, and I took a job and started working for about a month. And after a month, I realized, man, I don't know if I like this very much. I miss baseball, and the Mariners called me, so I was back. So in 21, I went and played AAA with the Mariners. Absolutely loved baseball, fell back in love with it. 2022, signed in Japan. I was like, I went from being done playing to not training or anything to all of a sudden I'm in the big leagues in Japan, which was amazing. Coming back from there, I didn't hear too much, but the Padres showed up, and so played with them in 23. And then going into 24, it seemed like opportunities were pretty slim. I actually signed to play indie ball with Cleburne. And the only reason we were going to do that is that I was going to be able to live at home. So that seemed like a dream situation. I could keep playing and live at home. But the Rangers called in the meantime. So I signed late with the Rangers, went to Round Rock, which was kind of a dream come true. That was really the team we were hoping to sign with the entire time along the way. I've got a bunch of family in Austin. And so playing at Round Rock was amazing. I got released 2 weeks ago. I signed, like I said, I signed late for injuries, and all those guys were back and healthy. So I was kind of odd man out. And so I didn't really know how to feel about it. It was first time getting released in 12 years. But so I felt like I was overdue for something like that to happen. But man, since being home and doing bedtimes with my family, it's like the timing has felt really good and right. So we're here to ride the wave from here and see what comes next. But just got back from Costa Rica with my wife, which was kind of a much needed break for her and myself. Just first time for us to get together without the kiddos. And so it was freaking awesome. I feel fresh. And dude, the timing, it feels good to be done and to be back at home.
Retirement officially. Is that correct?
Officially retired. Yeah. Made a little post today. So man, I'm giving lessons, and we're building some things out to work with some kids all over the country. And we're going to keep doing that.
So whenever the Rangers,
go ahead, Ray.
When the Rangers release you, is it Reed Ryan that gives you the call and says, "Hey, buddy, we got some tough news for you"?
I got to be around Reed a little bit. I liked him a lot, but no, he wasn't the guy. It was our farm director for the Rangers and just our manager. So nothing too crazy. There was a bunch of staff in town, and I kind of felt like something weird's going on. And so I got called into the office. I'm like, okay. So they had told me, hey, we need to make a move tomorrow. We don't know if we're going to put you on like, it's called the developmental list, to where you're not active, but you do it. No one would know you're not active. You're just not playing, or we're going to have to release you. I was like, okay, well, let's see what happens tomorrow. And so I got the word when I showed up the next day that it was a release. So I got to hang out, say bye to everybody. And we hung out in Austin for like a week and then hit the road, come back home.
Did you literally go to your garage and hang them up? Nail your
No,
spikes to the wall, you know?
I got all my bats right here. I got my gloves right here. I mean, no, nothing like that.
What if somebody else
maybe after
calls
this
tomorrow?
episode I can go in. That might be a
There you go. A DIY project.
man. We're done. That's what we had. Yeah, we had when it happened. I told my wife, I'm like, hey, if Vegas calls, because being in Vegas, that's the best place to hit, and that would just be awesome for family to come visit. It's just a great setup. I'm like, if Vegas, the Dodgers,
right?
Well, it is. I don't know if you know much about Vegas, but it's incredible. So there was a couple of teams that we would consider, but at this point, no, that time has passed.
I'm sure it's going to take you some time to kind of reflect on the last 10, 15 years, but how do you feel about your decision?
I really felt like it wasn't that I was putting it off, but I was just enjoying playing so much and having like my family there. Like, dude, bringing my kids on the field after every game, watching fireworks, going to the batting cage. Like, it was just a really surreal and cool experience. Like, I really was like loving baseball more and more as time went on. But this year, man, the days felt long. I mean, I realized that I was doing bedtime with my older son, who's about to be 3, 2 times a month. And bedtime's like my favorite shit in the world right now, you know, just reading books and everything else. It's so awesome. And I was like, man, twice a month, like that is not so. I don't know if it just hasn't fully hit me yet, or if the timing seriously was perfect. And, you know, my wife she's not upset about the timing either, that she gets to have help, because I'd go on the road for a week. She'd have both kids. We're living in an apartment in Austin. I mean, she has been an absolute trooper through my entire career. But so I think some more reflection will come down the road. But as of now, man, I just feel super grateful and proud of everything that's happened. And, you know, I love being home right now. It's perfect.
Who grinds harder, a minor league baseball player or the wife of a minor league baseball player?
Yeah. If you've got kids, the wife for sure, man. Like, she's getting no breaks. You know, I didn't fully realize it until I'm here all the time. I'm like, oh my gosh, I am zapped, you know? So definitely.
Two nights doesn't sound so bad now.
Yeah, right. I mean, no, it's great. But yeah, I'd say the wives, like, insane. And she's traveled with me to Japan. I mean, she moved to El Paso with us last year. Like, she deserves a castle somewhere, and she's been living in apartments all over the freaking world with me. So it's been fun, but this is overdue to just get some help.
What was Japan like playing over there? Was there any like big glaring differences between playing pro ball here versus over there?
Baseball wise, yeah. I mean, the game feels like it's flipped upside down. Like, every little detail, even from like the strike zone. The strike zone is extremely wide and not very tall. So I was like the only person in the league that would swing at balls at my neck, and the whole crowd would like have this big reaction because nobody else swings those, because it's always a ball. Dude, it's a crazy experience. Like, I could talk about it for a while. Like, just your entire routine. And I'm a routine guy. Like, I get to the field early. You know, I pretty much do the same thing every day as far as like my activation, my workout, my cage routine. And over there, you don't have a batting cage. So you legitimately, like, you are doing all of your work on the field. You have like 5 minutes of swings before batting practice starts. And so you're hitting into a little screen. So imagine you've got the baseball field. And right behind home plate, you've got the turtle for batting practice. And behind that, there's like 3 screens, and you've got 3 dudes hitting, and they're hitting with, so 2 of the guys are with, it's hitting coach, and I'm with my translator, who and the L screen has poles on it to where if I hit a ball off a pole, it ricochets off, and it's like hitting our superstar back here who's like getting ready to take his peak swings. And I got the translator just tossing me balls. So he doesn't know where I want it or how to toss the ball. So I'm just like doing what I can to just hit the ball in the net. Like I never felt good. And then I'd go into BP, and BP is totally different. Like the dude is from the mound, trying to get you out, throwing different pitches, and your comfort level is just flipped upside down. It's just hard to feel good. And I swear to God, our manager was awesome, but intimidating, old school. And sometimes he wouldn't set the lineup. So we'd go out there for BP, and I wouldn't know if I'm playing that day, where typically you would know before batting practice, all right, I'll try to hit some homers today, or hey, I got to lock it. I got to lock it in. I'm playing today. And so the days where the lineup wasn't up, I swear to God, he would stand on the outside of the cage to where I could see him over my left shoulder. And if I had a bad couple of rounds of BP, he would go make the lineup, and I wasn't in it. So
oh man,
he wasn't in the lineup to see how I looked. And it was dude, the pressure just felt like crazy the whole time. And, so you sign over there, they've got a bunch of guys who can hit singles, hit some doubles, don't strike out. So they try to bring over big bopper guys who can hit some homers. And so I had a career year the year before. I hit 299 with 19 homers, and all my stuff was up. And so when I went over there, it was I don't know if these guys think I'm a home run hitter or what. And the fields are huge there. The balls aren't as good. So, dude, it was just uncomfortable from the start. I really had to I just try to give less fricks about it, and just started to towards the end just enjoy myself. But being in Japan, aside from the baseball, it was the coolest experience I've ever had. Just first night we got there, dude, the process of getting the apartment took hours. It was the COVID situation over there in 22 was insane.
Oh, man.
It took
I didn't
4
think about
hours
that.
to get out of the airport. Everyone's wearing hazmat suits. They shoved a test kit up my baby's nose, and he's screaming. And so he screamed the whole time. He was 7 months old at the time. So I'm pissed off. We finally get to the apartment. We're kind of settled in. The apartment is old school. I have to duck to get under every door frame. And and we don't have anything grocery wise or things like that. I'm okay, I'll go downstairs and find a convenience store and get our stuff.
It's like the plot to Mr. Baseball.
Yeah, dude, Mr. Baseball is extremely accurate. I will give them a really good job. They really did. But dude, I went to this convenience store, and as I walked in there, I'm oh my God, I'm in Japan. It was a real wake up call of I can't read anything. I can't talk to anybody. There was toilet paper everywhere, but I couldn't find anything else we needed. I'll never forget that first night. I felt super overwhelmed with just the whole process. But man, looking back, it was the best. And we're speaking Japanese. We're eating the most delicious food in the world.
Mhm.
The people there are the nicest people in the world, truly. So it was. We always say we would just go nuts if we could go back. It would be incredible.
That's cool.
Did you ever participate in a bunt derby?
I was going to ask the same thing.
I did not, but I do have a little. So first day, so I showed up because of COVID. There was COVID, so the border was shut down. They wouldn't let anybody in. And every year in spring training, you have a Dominican guy that has visa problems, and he's always 2 weeks late. And you're always dude, what is going on with your visa? How do you not just fill out the paperwork the right way and you'll be good, right? I was the guy with visa problems getting to Japan. I was 2 weeks later than everybody else because the Houston embassy would not push my paperwork in front of anybody else. And so, dude, I got there after the season started, no spring training. So I showed up. I went to the minor leagues for 5 days, I think. So I had like 12 at bats, where normally in spring training you have like 60, whatever. So I get called up, and the first day during batting practice, one of the guys is bunting, and he's bunting the ball, like he's moving the bat a lot, and he's like so precise and soft with it. And so I walked over, I'm like, hey, show me how to bunt right there. Like to the coaches are right there. And first interaction I've had with them, and they go, Bunto, you know Bunto, you hit home run. I'm like, oh my God. Like,
Big white
already.
man.
Yeah, already, dude.
You're just
So,
a caveman dragging
Yeah.
your club.
Yeah, swing your club, home run boy.
So I never bunted. That was not an option. It was hit a double or a homer, or else you're on the bench. But yeah, some of the stuff they do over there is wild.
So it sounds like it was a crazy experience, but you don't regret going over there for a year.
Oh
right?
my God, dude. No, it was amazing. Like,
Okay.
I've dealt with a lot of stress and lack of sleep, but man, it was awesome. Like, seriously, did you get to play in the stadiums there? Like, it sucked because it was COVID. So legitimately, like, I didn't get the full experience. Like, there would be signs on the Jumbotron at every stadium saying, like, no cheering, no high fives. So during the game, during a play, it was totally silent. And everyone there follows every rule. So, like, I made an error on my first play. This guy hit me an easy ground ball, like chopper, and it was so dead silent. I remember it felt like the play took like 10 minutes to develop, and I just dropped the ball. And I'm like, oh, shit, here we go. But, dude, silent. And you're in this dome where, like, they're playing music and instruments, and it's, like, just loud and awesome. And then when something would happen, dead silent. It was a weird experience, but I
That's worse than booze.
Yeah, 100 times worse.
It was wild.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Yeah, booze would have been better for sure.
Yeah.
Did your interpreter get caught up in a gambling scandal too?
No, dude. I had two young guys. They were good dudes. No, not that I know of, but one of them, he's kind of a wild card. I think anything could happen. But that whole situation, I wonder what the hell went down there. That's crazy.
You had a lot more control over your millions of dollars in Japanese, right?
That's right. Yeah.
So, hey,
I
Jantzen,
wouldn't-
let's go
yeah, there
backwards
wasn't
to
a lot
TCU
left
for a second. Let's go back in time to your time in Fort Worth. I want to read a couple stats if you'll stick with me for a second. So, second in TCU baseball history was 63 doubles, top 10 in hits still. What do you contribute to your success behind the plate when you're in Fort Worth? You know, obviously those are, considering the talent that just comes through Fort Worth every year. I mean, we've got some pretty awesome players and guys that are coming in the league. So, and you're still up there in the top 10 of those categories.
Dude, that's really cool to hear. I legit didn't know that. I knew the doubles thing. I think Coates is the leader there. I don't know how far behind I was, but that's really cool. I mean, for me, like, I always, everybody made fun of my swing. You know, I grew up playing tennis, and so, like, my swing always looked different, but I've always had really good hand-eye coordination and hands, and I just really bought into Slosh's program and, you know, attention to detail and preparation. And so for me, it was an easy transition into college. Like, this guy's built an awesome program. He expects a lot out of us. And, you know, he just held everyone to the highest standard and accountability to where it was like, I didn't want to screw up. And so I just, when there was a big moment, you know, I always took pride in, you know, runner on third, less than 2 outs, that I was going to get the job done. And I did see one of my stats. There was, I think maybe my redshirt freshman year, I went 19 for 20, runner on third, less than 2 outs, which is freaking awesome. And so for me, I just feel like I've always been a grinder, and I've always just tried to hit a line drive up the middle and just hit a line drive somewhere. And as far as what I attribute that to, I just, you know, I think my parents instilled a lot of good things in me growing up playing high school. And when I got to college, it was just an easy transition to just keep doing the same thing, but try to make every at bat really matter. And having a crowd there, and, you know, like, playing in Fort Worth is great. We went on the road, Mountain West. We're playing in cool spots. it came pretty naturally.
I wanted to ask you about, everybody talks about the game against Florida State in the College World Series, and they talk about the Curry Grand Slam. What people forget is you had the second most famous home run in that inning.
Yeah, I need to get a clip of that. I don't think my wife's ever seen that. I need to show her that.
The only way I
so
remember
that whole
it is because I
experience
watched the
was,
full game recently.
Did you really? Where'd you watch it?
Yeah. I think it was the ESPN archives. I'll have to find the link for you and email it to you. But there's the full game.
Bro,
So
because I thought I could buy that single game. Yeah, dude, I would love that link. Because we have the DVD somewhere, but I don't even have a DVD player anymore. But yeah, that was truly peak of my career. That swing, that at bat, and pretty funny. We faced that pitcher game 1 of Omaha, and we had a good lead, and I had never tried to hit a homer. Like went up to say, you know what, I'm gonna try to hit a home run right here, because playing in Lupton Stadium, it wasn't possible. Like I think I hit maybe 4 home runs a year. Like the wind blew in, it was huge. Like I wasn't that strong. Like it just wasn't even a reality. But in Omaha at Rosenblatt, the ball was flying. So anyways, first game, I'm facing that reliever. I don't remember his name, but I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try to hit a homer. And I hit a ball to the warning track for an out. I was like, holy shit, I got a hold of that one like that. I almost did it. So we went, and that next game, Curry hits a grand slam, just like, it's just crazy how locked in you felt after that from just the energy. So I walked up, I'm like, oh, this is the same pitcher. I'm like, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to hit a homer. And I freaking did it, dude. And I remember running the bases way too fast. Like I wish I would have let it sink in, but just the roar of the crowd and everything else, just that game was insane, And honestly, before Curry hit that grand slam, Coates is one of my best friends, and it just felt like a dire situation for us. And I remember looking over at him and I don't remember who said what, but we were both kind of like, you know what? Omaha's been sick. This has been a great week, regardless, 2 weeks, whatever it was. And then Curry hits that grand slam, and it was like, I remember I just put my hand up to my head like, no way. It was, that moment was just so insane. That entire tournament
I know the
awesome.
center fielder, center fielder kind of deked you guys. A couple of guys fell for it. Did you fall for it?
Yeah.
Or did you know it was gone?
Yeah, I remember seeing the highlight. Like I put my hands on my head, and then went like this, and then it went over, and just like it was really confusing because you knew he launched that ball,
right?
And then he stopped running pretty short after. It was like, what? Like, did it hit a bird? Yeah. Like, how is it coming down? So yeah, that was a weird situation, but yeah, I mean that'll go down always best. I mean TCU history. That was pure insanity.
Your reliever's name is McGee, by the way, and he was a really, really productive, good reliever that year. So
that was who Curry hit the homer off of.
Oh, did they switch? Oh, they did switch, huh? Scantling came in.
Pulled that
yeah,
picture.
You're right. Yeah, Scantling came in.
Who was it?
Scantling.
He was a bigger dude, righty. I need to look that up. I'm the worst with names. I don't remember much, but
yeah, I'm just reading the box score here.
Gotcha.
Jantzen, so it's interesting. You've increased your presence on social media. I want to say, obviously it was during your career, but not necessarily like in a, hey, look at me, look what I'm doing. More of a teaching, method of like, hey, this is what I'm learning in the moment, which I found very interesting because, like you said, you're 34, you're still learning about baseball, which is kind of wild. And so I would even show my son videos that you were posting about like, hey, check this out, check out this hitting video, stuff like that. But awesome. What's the feedback you've received from that? And is that something you're going to continue doing as you progress? I think you mentioned you want to maybe teach a little bit. I don't know if that's in your next steps or not.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm for sure going to keep doing it. And honestly, the feedback, like it's amazing how self-conscious I still get, and especially was when I first started. There's kind of like an unwritten rule of baseball that you kind of you don't do that. You don't take video from the stadium and throw it up, whatever. But I follow on social media, or I felt like I'd heard people say that, use social media, don't let it use you. And I was like, man, I'm sitting here scrolling, and I followed Gary Vaynerchuk and Grant Cardone. And I had a teammate who was posting a lot more, and man, he was getting advertising deals and these other things. We'd go out on the road, and he would have free lunch set up for us or free breakfast, to where he would add a video to his story, and he showed me it would take 2 seconds, and he would do it. And my wife and I love traveling, so I'm like, I'm just gonna start doing something with it and just see where it takes me. Like, I'm sitting on the app anyway. Why not use it? And in baseball, I kind of I was late to adopting some of these new age thoughts of hitting. And I regretted it. Like, I wish that I learned stuff, or had a more open mind to guys talking about launch angle and loading their scap and these things. I'm like, whatever. I've always hit pretty well. Like, I don't need to do that. Once I started actually diving into it and learning later in my career, I'm like, this is sweet. Like, younger kids, I also see people posting things where I'm like, man, I don't think this guy knows what he's talking about at all. And I'm like, I feel like I have some credibility, and I'm going at it honestly, that it could be valuable to somebody. So if it's valuable to a couple kids, then why not just go ahead and do it? And I don't think social media is going anywhere in the future. So I think it'll be more and more valuable. And so I feel like I'm really long-winded here, but going forward, we live in Texas, to where you've got lots of opportunities to hit with some solid coaches. But, I think the whole getting one lesson a week model is pretty dated. And if there's somebody in Montana or, Wisconsin or some other places where they don't really have access to the quality of coaching like we do in Texas, it's like, if there is an access point online where I could work with somebody like that and work from my phone and computer and help them get better, and allow my wife and I to travel and me be home, it just feels like a perfect situation to keep using this and see where it goes. So I'm certainly going to continue doing it.
That's awesome. Yeah. Thanks for sharing. It seems like you even learned a few things yourself, like in the last couple of years. Like, you would be watching your own swing and going, hey, did you change your motion even in the last couple of years of your career?
100%. So yeah. And that was a big thing, was that I never made any changes. I really wasn't watching much video. And I had asked when I was with the Red Sox, I'm like, hey, what do I need to do to make it to the big leagues? Like, just help me out. Is it homers? Do I need to hit homers? Like, no. Your doubles, we love the way you play. You hit a lot of doubles. Like, don't change a thing. And I'm like, okay. And so I didn't. But when I signed with the Mariners, I had an unbelievable coach. He was our pitching coach. And he started helping me out. And he's like, hey, I'm going to introduce you to someone that I really think can help your swing. And it was he's now the big league assistant hitting coach for the Rays. And so I worked with him, one FaceTime call for 40 minutes. And that was 2021, the year before I went to Japan. For a 45-minute phone call absolutely changed my career. He showed me a couple things with like my bat angle, gave me a couple drills. And that night I hit 2 doubles, and like the ball came off my bat like never before. And so from then on, the rest of the season, I was so bought into trying some of these new things that some of these coaches would have for me. And the Mariners did a good job of showing me my hot zone, cold zone. Basically, when I hit pitches up in the zone, I was a great hitter. When I swung at pitches below the zone, I was terrible. So it was like, oh, well, I'll just raise my sights. Perfect. Simple things that like the new data and things showed me, that it was like I felt late to the party. And so from there I became more of a student of the game, but I thought I had figured everything out because I had such a good year. And when I went to Japan, man, I freaking dug a deep hole for myself because I really struggled. I had not any time in life, if you think you got something figured out, like you got something coming for you. And so long story short, after my season with the Padres in El Paso, I reached out to a group, this hitting guru up in Knoxville, Tennessee. His name's Eugene Bleeker. And Zach Decken, the TCU strength coach, is buddies with him. So he hooked me up with him. So I went up there to see him and his group, and they totally like transformed the way I think about hitting, drills, just how to coach it. And so from then that was the entire reason I hadn't signed anywhere going into this year, but I wanted to go play indie ball because I had made these kind of big adjustments for myself and my swing, and I wanted to see if it would work. And this year it was one of the best times I've ever felt. Like, even my playing time was kind of sparing. I was launching balls. And so it really helped me look at the game a different way and really start to enjoy the coaching side. Like, I would be in the cage and watch guys hit and try to help them, even if I couldn't, it was fun to just watch and ask them questions. And so I really started to fall in love with that side of the game. And so it was something that certainly came on late in my career and something that I didn't think I would enjoy as much as I do. I was always a guy that didn't love baseball like everybody else. But the older I got and when I started having kids and they're coming on the field, I fell in love with it again. And that's kind of where I'm at now.
This sounds just like the
Fellas,
movie
are these the
Moneyball.
longest answers you've ever gotten?
The what?
What'd you say, Ray?
I was gonna say.
I'm like, are these the longest responses you've ever had?
No. We had Chris, or not Chris, Jeremiah
all right.
Donati on. I think he might give you a run for your money.
Jamie
Well,
Dixon.
yeah, he's pretty smart.
Oh, Jamie Dixon. That's a good one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he could be pretty long-winded.
Man, I
Which is
freaking
great. We
love
love it.
Jamie Dixon, dude. That guy is the man.
Dude, isn't he awesome?
Slick back. That guy's awesome.
Yeah, he's a
He
fun
is.
interview too. What sports do you follow the
Ray,
closest
you have a question
besides TC baseball? What teams do you follow the closest?
Man, I'm a Rangers fan. I grew up in Arlington, so if I'm watching a baseball game, which I don't watch a lot of big league games. Maybe I will more now because I was always playing. But I like sports, college football. Obviously I'm a Frog fan, but really it's just Frogs, Rangers. We don't turn on the TV much anymore, to be honest. Like, I don't watch a ton of TV. I'm a big fan of Rogan, so if I'm doing something on my phone, I'm listening to what he's got to say.
Okay.
But I would say that's pretty much it, man. I mean, I'll watch the Cowboys if they're on. I might fall asleep during the game, but I'll just watch the big games, like playoff
Right.
anything. I'm in. Like, that's just give me
Are
the
you
energy.
grinding?
I don't need the full season. Just
Are you grinding on college football 25 yet?
NCAA 25.
The video
absolutely
game.
not.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, your look
And
kind of
bro-
answered my question for me.
I had to put my Xbox in the closet years ago. I was playing the new Grand Theft Auto. Man, yeah, it was great. But I was playing whatever new Grand Theft Auto, and on the video game, I'm laying in my room in bed, middle of the day, lights are off, and I've got my dog next to me on the bed. And in the video game, I'm walking my dog. And I'm like, I look at him and I'm like, what am I doing?
Dude. Yes.
So I unplugged it, put it in the closet. It's in the trash somewhere. I think I sold it for some DVDs way back when, but so I haven't played video games since. And
Yeah.
Fortnite in these games, I get it. I was a Halo guy. They look amazing, but I can't do it. There's no time. Yeah.
Right.
So props to y'all for pulling it off.
Yeah, it's called losing sleep. MK, did you have anything else on his time at TCU, or did we cover all that?
No, I think we pretty much passed that. I mean,
Okay.
obviously, Jansen's talked a little bit about Japan. You mentioned Puerto Rico. I don't know if there's any other interesting stories from your time, in the minors. You've been to a lot of places, Jantzen. Salem, Greenville, Pawtucket, Illinois, Tacoma, Round Rock. I mean, just all over the place. So I don't know if there's anything fun to share about those experiences quickly.
Shoot, man, I would just say the minor leagues is an absolute grind. And now they at least pay guys a little bit. Like, back in the day, it was like, I remember one year I finally started in AAA. Like, the Red Sox, they made me start every year in AA, which drove me freaking crazy. And so the first year, 2018, I started the year in AAA. I'm like, sweet. I can finally get an apartment so I can live by myself. I've always had roommates. So I get an apartment, and a couple months later, and it was a pain getting into the apartment, furniture, everything else. But you're not making any money, so I'm paying for the apartment. You're paying dues every day to the clubby. That's like, I'm not asking him to go get me dip like other guys. Like, he's literally doing my laundry, and I'm not. But you gotta pay him. You gotta tip him. So you're not keeping any money. And dude, I got sent down to AA, and I'm like, I have this apartment. Like, I don't even know what to do. So like, luckily I had somebody who was coming up that he came into the apartment. But at the end of the season, I had to drive back. I had to drive from Portland, Maine to Pawtucket, Rhode Island to move out of the apartment that I hadn't been in like 5 months. And like the way the minor leagues used to be set up was such a freaking sham that now they've done a better job. They provide housing. They pay you at least where like you can survive. So they've done a better job. But the minor leagues back in the day was an absolute grind. And, I've been lucky enough to play in all those cool places though. Like I've played on the, Northeast. I played West Coast. Tacoma, Washington is a beautiful place. Greenville, South Carolina. I could move there tomorrow. I'm not a big fan of Northeast at all, to be honest, but Portland, Maine was really nice. But so getting to play in different places is really cool. And just getting to meet new people, the amount of teammates I've had has just been insane. So really no regrets, but it is a freaking grind.
No doubt.
So I have
Okay.
the last question from me. It's more baseball related. With the state of today's game, right? The draft just happened and all that. Do you think that we're seeing a trend where more high schoolers are going to go to college now with the top of the draft and the first round, especially being so college heavy?
Yeah, I mean, I think you should, unless you're getting godly. I mean, even $1 million now, it's like you might just want to go to school. If you're going to get $1 million in the draft, you could probably go to the SEC and get 100, 200 grand, maybe more, just to go play. Like, I don't know what's the latest with the NIL stuff, but for me, if it was my son and he had the option of going to a great school and playing versus like going in the draft, he's going to college 1,000%. Like, just, and I think it's good for everybody. Like, you really know. No offense to any of my teammates that signed out of high school, but it's very rare that you don't know who was drafted out of high school versus college, just based on who they are as a person, how they handle things. You can just tell they didn't have that college experience where they live on their own. They figure things out. They make mistakes and, you get punished for it. In pro ball, I think kids should go to school. Obviously, to each their own. And some guys, all they want to do is make it to the big leagues. And so guys that want to do that, they're that driven. Bryce Harper, these guys, Trout, like, go ahead and go. But I think it's awesome for guys to go to school.
And then to follow up on
With that said, the transfer portal and stuff right now, it's all crazy. Like, being a college coach right now would be insane. I talked to a couple of my buddies. They're at University of Miami, and they're like, we don't even know who's on our team right now. Like, we've had this many kids enter the portal. It's a tough deal for any school. Everybody can just leave. Hey, they're paying me more money over here. I'm gone. It's like, I can't blame you.
Yeah, to follow up on that, with you talked about the revamped minor league system, the way things are. They're also paring things back in the minor leagues, team wise and all that. Do you think that teams kind of, when they give evaluations, kind of try to push high schoolers more to college? And they're using the NCAA as kind of a developmental league so that prospects, when drafted, are more ready and can get quicker to the show?
It's a really good question. I mean, I feel like the Rangers were really good. Probably best team I've been on. The Mariners probably second best as far as developing their guys. But you cannot replicate the experience you get at college and the amount of pressure you deal with. Like, if you have a coach like Slosh, practice is like the most stressful environment you could ever have. So when the game starts, you're oddly calm, like any situation, because you've been through it and it's been worse. This guy's going to rip your head off if you boot a ball, And so I think, I don't know the answer to that question, but if it were me, and I was a front office guy, I've openly said I would sign guys out of college versus high school for sure. You don't know what you're going to get. Like, how could you know? Let them go to college, get the experience. So that makes sense. To answer your question, I don't know, but that would make sense to me.
Yep.
Jantzen, I have a very serious question to kind of end the show tonight. I was doing a little research, on your stats and stuff through the TCU baseball, website, and it says you're currently pursuing a master's in liberal arts. Number one, is that accurate? And number two, where do you hope to practice social work when you're done?
It's a really fair question. So I redshirted my freshman year and graduated on time. And so I had my last year of school, my 5th year, is like, well, what are you going to do? And so I asked, I'm like, should I go back and like pick up another major? Or like, should I like, I had a minor in business. Should I like switch the minor to major? Like, how does it even work? And they're like, school's really expensive. The cheapest program is the liberal arts program. And I'm like, liberal arts? I don't even know what would I do with that? They're like, well, what do you want to do when you're done playing? I'm like, I don't know. Sales? They're like, well, just get your degree. All that matters is your degree. And if you get a master's, maybe you'll get more money. I'm like, okay, what are the classes? And it was like screenwriting, playwriting, the study of sex, violence, and aggression, and something else. And it was like, I'd have class online or like one night a week. And so it was like, okay, I'll versus going back and grinding through school, I'll do that. So I am 4 classes short from having my master's in liberal arts, which, I'm really excited about. I could go to Cal Berkeley or anything else. It's
I'd imagine gender studies is a hard course these days.
Yeah.
And I bet it's one of the courses. And yeah. What is a woman?
Hey, you know what? You've retired from baseball
nowadays.
You're retired from baseball. You're back in the fort, and so we look forward to attending your graduation ceremony in a year. So
yeah,
absolutely.
See you at the Shawley.
If I go back and finish that, y'all are all invited. That would be sweet.
Let's go.
By the way, I have no intention of finishing that, but who knows?
It's 4 classes, man. 4 hours or 4 classes. What'd you say? Yeah, you got to finish that.
Yeah, we'll bring the air horns.
To be honest, I haven't thought about that since 2013. Yeah. For real.
That's why I brought it up. I thought it was a funny anecdote. But hey, grateful for your time tonight, Jantzen. It was really fun to catch up and kind of hear about what you've done, what you're doing, and kind of what's next. And obviously, I think you're a great follow on Instagram, whether it's baseball related or not. You've got some great stuff at Jantzen Witte. So follow him and we look forward to catching up soon on kind of what your next steps are. So we appreciate it. And like we end every show, it's always a go Frogs. So go Frogs, man.
Go Frogs.
Good to catch up.
Go Frogs.
Man.